Happy Australia Day, everyone. Let's have a look. Good evening, everyone. Florian here, and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee or ice-cold water like I have today, and let's discuss Australia Day. I hope you've had a fantastic time. I hope you've just ignored all of the hoopla, rubbish, and the politicking of a day where, traditionally you spend it with your mates, with your family, you go out to the beach, you have a barbecue, and you appreciate how good a life we have here in Australia. I know I'm a YouTuber and I discuss a lot of the negative news. That's just, or it appears that I only discuss the negative news because nothing positive gets any algorithmic traction. But there's many advantages we have to living in Australia. There's a lot worse places that we could live in. Now, what's a little disturbing is if you have that mindset and then you look at all of the protests and the rubbish that's going on, it just, well, for one, it makes me feel like I'm getting old. I'm getting old and out of touch. Because, let's look here. I typed in Australia Day into Google. And what do we have? The ABC. Voice referendum. Plan to abolish Australia Day in spotlight at rallies around the country. To abolish Australia Day. Now, as a small business owner, I always hated public holidays because I'd have to spend money on staff and get no reward. Now, I don't employ people anymore. I just hire contractors if I need them. So I don't really worry about it that much anymore. But it's not like I've ever actually gotten paid to go on a public holiday since I was an employee. So a long time ago. But, I can appreciate for some people, if you're just on the grind and clocking in, out, you've got to get to work. And time away with the family is precious. And that's what this day was for a lot of people. And actually, in my profession, on LinkedIn of all places, there was an architectural practice, and they were proudly saying they were working on Australia Day. And I actually bumped into one of my old staff members. He needed me to sign something for him so he could sit the exams to become an architect. And I told him, did you hear this? Some of these firms are publicly declaring they're working on public holiday for all these political reasons. I used to make my staff work on public holidays before it was cool. Because as architects, sometimes you've got deadlines. So it's kind of, if they're all saying they're working on public holidays, any architect, it's bullshit because they probably are anyway. So let's have a look here. You've got thousands attend an Invasion Day rallies on Australia's national holiday. Here we go. Let's have a look. As the colonisation debate rages. What's this colonisation debate? It's done. The colonisation has occurred. It's why we have a modern civilization on this desert of a country. I mean, come on. This is the thing. It's why Australia is no longer Neolithic, or I don't think they even reached Neolithic stages. But anyway, there you go. This is The Guardian. Protest rally in Melbourne, Australia Day. Look at this. It's only been a public holiday since '94. They want to get rid of public holidays. I mean, bloody hell, what happened to Aussies wanting days off? How many of them would chuck a sickie for anything? The Sydney Wiradjuri woman told thousand-strong crowds that the day marked a reckoning for white Australia. 235 years and we ain't going nowhere. Okay, well, cool. Well, you couldn't go anywhere back then anyway. Did they have canoes? Yeah, they had canoes. I mean, come on. This is such divisive vitriol. And look at this in Victoria, and they wonder why there's a huge growth of far-righters down in Victoria, like extreme far-righters, because they see this and they go, okay, they hate white people. It's a reckoning. I think another senator's saying it's war. And what do you expect is going to happen? What are people that dumb? Are they really that stupid? I mean, come on. Here we go. Voice referendum plan to abolish Australia Day in spotlight at rallies around the country. I mean, that's okay. Fantastic. Thousands of people took to the street in Sydney. I mean, okay, they want justice. Greater voice. Awesome. Look at Melbourne. Didn't they cancel the Australia Day parade in Melbourne? I think they did. I mean, cool. Prioritize a treaty before the voice. They want a treaty. with what? Every single one of the individual tribes? I mean, this is just going to get... This is nuts. It really is, isn't it? And where's the other one that calls for a land tax to be paid? You know? Where's the one? There was one photo I saw. What else? At heat of day, PM remains... PM must reclaim the narrative. Okay. The first and most recent Australians add their views to the debate on Australia's past to the future. The first and most recent Australians? Well... What? Who was the first Australians? That was the people who turned Australia into a country. Well, wasn't it? Oh, well. So, yeah, this is what we're seeing in the news, guys, about Australia Day. Let's have a look at some images here. I mean, come on. Oh, there we go. I mean, these are nice. This is all cool. Australia Day images. They're protests. Did protests happen in the 90s, guys? Were there protests in the 90s? Here's 2016. Let's have a look. You know that... What are we looking at here? Australia Day. Arrival of the First Fleet in 1788. And gives Australians a day to get together and celebrate our much-loved country. I think that the arrival of the First Fleet only was attached to it in the 80s. You know, when we had the 200 years age of the country. I remember I went and saw a replica, I think, of the Endeavour as a kid. So, yeah. I mean, this is what we're seeing here, guys. So, all this vitriol and this political posturing that we've got there. And now you've got calls for pay the rent. It's hit the media. One Nation is responding to it. Now, we discussed this on the channel over a year ago. Over a year ago, I remember we discussed it. And I generally didn't think, you know, if people voluntarily wanted to pay to a private organization to alleviate their white guilt or their Asian guilt living in Australia or any guilt you have living in Australia, fine, let them do it. And I've been thinking about that more and more now. I'm kind of worried because what we're going to see, the people that pay that, a lot of them, I imagine, would be teals or would be inner city greenies. And there'd be a lot of them would think, well, I can pay it, so why can't you pay it? Why can't they pay it? I can see them as the type of people that don't mind using the authority of the state to force their views upon others. Can you see it happening? 10 years' time, you know, there's a land tax, 1% paid. You'd think, nah, Florian, that'll never happen. I think that a lot of people that would be loving it, and they'd love to make it mandatory, and they'd love to pay all the money to the voice, and then it all goes into more bureaucracy and kind of gets wasted away. And forget the fact that we already pay significant taxes, and we're spending so much money trying to help these communities, and well, we're still trying to help these communities. It's not working. It's not working, sadly. So, one suggestion I would make is take 1% of your income and start just, you know, investing it, pretending you don't have it, so you get used to that eventually happening. We'll have to see. Maybe it'll get hammered down, but I think the fact that One Nation is rallying against it, it will just harden all the crazy lefties that will happily sacrifice everyone else's money for the greater good. It seems to be where Australia's headed. Well, what did I do for Australia Day, guys? I thought, you know, I'll show you a nice story. We started the day where the kids were all, you know, singing the national anthem, and this is Little Miss Five putting an Australia Day flag in her journal. We have the kids doing their own little version of daily journaling where they record all of the things she did. I think that first little sticker is she got dressed, and the second one, I don't know what that is. Rachel makes these. I'm in charge of mathematics, so they all have to do maths with me. So that's what I spent my morning on Australia Day, teaching my children maths. And they all did quite well. My little 9-year-old was a bit of a pain, but I think that's more of her... It's funny, she's got this attitude about maths, yet she's getting top marks in it. you know, she flies through it. I don't, I'm learning to deal with that attitude problem. So, you know, that was our day with the kids, mathematics in the morning, because it is day 2 of homeschool, and we don't stop for public holidays, guys. We're not civil servants. Small business, you got to keep working. And then sadly, I spent the rest of the day cleaning out, pumping out under my house so we can get the concrete pour done tomorrow. Now I'm hoping we don't get as much rain. We'll have to see. So guys, I hope you all had a great Australia Day. Don't worry too much about the news and the rubbish and the hoopla, but then be aware this is what people are calling for. You know, Australia is going to be divided. You know, can you even, in some groups, can you even criticize the idea of the voice? Anyway, I hope you had a great day. Take care, guys, and I'll see you in the next episode of Heise Says. Check out Heise BIM and Heise Does for other content I create. And hang on. And wait. If you're a fan of the channel, you can support us on YouTube or Patreon, use our referral links, buy our pocket squares, or call us if you need an architect. Take care, have a great day, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye for now.